won't listen to anything. They won't even listen to a differing opinion that much.
Yeah,
That's another reason why. I mean, I used to get a lot of fan mail when I did the Beat Goes In. The Beat Goes In was all about the music business, right? The podcast I do now is about everything. I'll throw in the music business. I'll talk about the world. I'll talk about whatever. But when I was just doing the Beat Goes In on Kawan's show, like, you know what I mean? And it was like a mixed bag, man. I would have people like, yo, salute, man, you really dropping gems, like, you know what I mean? And I've been getting a lot of those fans that want me to still drop some shit about the music business now, and I appreciate y'all. I really do. I appreciate the people who appreciated what I was doing, right? To kick some game about the actual music industry and the business. But, like, you know, like, it's just people are shut down. For the most part, people are shut down. They don't even want to, like, you know, I did a whole fucking segment about how you're really not independent. And people just, instead of opening up their mind and being like, yo, that's true. You know what? I take that back, because I apologize. I forget the name of the artist, but Kawan actually played him on the mixtape show. And he told me while he was on the show, Kawan was texting me like, yo, the dude that I'm playing right now actually heard your segment and made his own website, and he exclusively streams from his website because he heard what you were saying about streaming and Spotify and Apple and all of that and fractions of pennies and everything else. And he said that he exclusively streams through his website now and doesn't even fuck with the streaming platforms because he's trying to create his own brand.
Which makes
and
a
I
lot of
said,
sense.
yeah. And I said, see, that's what I'm talking about. I actually appreciated when Kawan had told me that. I was like, yo, man, word. You know what I mean? That's why I did that. That's why I was speaking on the business like that, because I want to affect change. And if every artist did that and considered themselves as a brand, we would be in a whole different place. We would force the hand of the top of the business to change. And they would, because they want money.
You know, and that's what I was like. That's one of the reasons why I wish that very first interview that we did, I didn't fuck up and not recorded that night, because like it had a lot of the same stuff what we're talking about right now. It had a lot of the same stuff in there now. And it's crazy how it's coming full circle and it's all coming back to the top now, because I had that same view. Like, I'm like, listen, like, why, you know, go over here to these streaming platforms and stuff like that when you can build your own outlet and have people come here exclusively, instead of going to check for you on SoundCloud, checking for you on Spotify, and checking for you on Hawkshare and all these other different platforms. Why not just, you know, put the time, the effort, and the money into it, create your own, you know, site and do your own streaming from there? You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes more sense to me to do it that way, because now you're taking the entrepreneurship of it. You know what I'm saying?
And the biggest part is, what that showed me was effort.
Yeah.
And it showed me that, and what Kawan told me that this artist did was went forward and made sure that his music was, he had all the copyrights, and he was registered with Broadcast Data Systems and Media Base, and he went and registered with BMI for publishing and everything, and then went and built his own platform. Now that's what I'm talking about, right? You take the business seriously. That requires effort. The problem is, most of the people want instant gratification, and they don't end up, they want to just put it up. They want to be able to say this sentence: my music is available on all platforms.
Yeah, like that loses.
And every time I want to smack motherfuckers when they say that, man.
Yeah, that loses to me that saying that your music is available everywhere, to me, that kind of depreciates the value of it. Like, exactly. I took a page from you when you told me about, you know, be careful about trying to spread my platform to a whole lot of other different networks and stuff like that, because like now you just kind of like it's depreciating the actual real value of what I had. When, you know, if people can come over here and exclusively listen to it here, then it's going to bring more traffic to that particular network, and then it helps everybody as a whole, and it helps with, you know, getting people's attention. Then now it attracts the attention of, say, people that want to come to that particular network, and they want to, you know, pay for ad space and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I was just talking to Kawan earlier today, and me and him was talking about how, like, you know, it used to be where if you was an artist, you would come up with your label, and you would, like, remember how loyal rappers were in the 90s and the early 2000s around then to their label? Like, they couldn't go 4 bars without saying their label, right? It was always like, they was like Redman, Def Jam, right? Like Def Squad, like they would, it was always like, you know, they would promote the label that they were on, and the label would promote them.
Right.
And it was the same thing with producers and artists. It was a synergy, like Alchemist with Mobb Deep. And like, it was just a synergy that even in FM radio, you would have a radio station, and then you would have a host that's synonymous with that radio station. And the host would build up the station, and the station would build up the host. And I said, now with independent networks, I think that we should take that same approach, where if you have a content creator like myself, or like you, or like anybody else, like, you know what I mean, that the network, like, that's why I say NGI radio as many times as I possibly can, right? If you go to my bio, it's NGI radio. If you go to one of my art, like one of my pictures for my podcast, it's NGI radio, right? And then even in my podcast, I say it because I know that I'm going to be streaming elsewhere with my podcast. So I want to bring attention to NGI radio. And then Kawan on his show will say, yo, stay tuned for the homie. His podcast is right after the show, right? Like, you know what I mean? And we build each other up. Like, you know what I mean? We build each other up, and the loyalty within the network itself. The network isn't just the physical business license of the entity itself. It's the network of people, the network of creators. Like, you appreciate the people who do the most, right, for you, and like, you know, efficiently. And then that's the way that we can really grow as brands, instead of, like, you know, because there's no reason that NGI radio is better than iHeartRadio by far. There's no reason why something like that can't be like the #1 network at all.
I agree.
There's no reason,
especially with all of the, you know, I could say, like, all of the different original content that's on the platform as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got a lot of original content, you know what I'm saying? Not only with the two of us, but you also got other shows on there as well. You got Kawan on there, you got DJ MJ AD, you know, you got the Audacity Girls, you got the Ryan Show, you got a couple of other different platforms that are featured on NGI radio that have good enough quality to help boost NGI radio to being that #1 online station. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
I definitely see it.